We all receive government assistance, whether it's a matter of getting on public transit. I went to school on Pell Grants and Stafford loans, or maybe it's just the matter of fact that you turned on the water this morning and you didn't die when you drank from your tap. That's what the government does. We all pay into our system through property taxes and sales taxes and income tax, and in turn, we all get services from our government. And unfortunately, some of those services are demonized publicly. So I really try to make people feel like this is something that's okay.
Maria Cimini is a SNAP super saleswoman. SNAP is the federal government's Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. We used to call it food stamps. Not everyone thinks it's the government's job to hand out free food, and many seniors see being on food stamps an embarrassment. Nonetheless, it's Cimini's job to see that low-income people and older people living on inadequate fixed incomes get a little bit extra each month so they can eat a little more and eat a little better. Some might say seniors in the West End are lucky. Rhode Island is only one of 20 states that have SNAP outreach programs.
I think we have an excellent program through AARP with their outreach, and probably a national model. And they are making real progress to reduce this gap between those who are qualified and eligible and who are actually receiving benefits.
It may be true in some towns, but not in financially struggling cities and communities like the West End. But everywhere you might look, seniors who qualify for SNAP are not being served.
We don't have the best of data on how many seniors are and aren't being served. We know nationally, though, only about 30 to 40% of those eligible are receiving SNAP. I would say that the biggest shortcoming is not so much the state's SNAP-specific efforts, but the fact that there have been millions of dollars in cuts to programs such as senior centers, and so now I think senior centers' lack of outreach and lack of having case workers there familiar with things like SNAP who can talk to people about them. I think that's where the biggest area I think the state's falling down.
We pretty much have had level funding for about 5 years, and for there to be a 10% increase in the demand on what we've always been able to meet the needs of the community with is just no longer adequate.
I think it's an overall neglect, frankly, the kind of cuts that have happened. I think there's a neglect of the importance of so many low-income seniors out there, so many that are isolated, right now is not seen as an important social problem. And I think we need some more champions in our legislature and others who really get it, that there are going to be more and more low-income seniors.
Part of government is to take care of those who can no longer take care of themselves, and certainly the vulnerable elder is part of that population who can no longer, in many instances, take care of themselves. There seems to be a push toward a very conservative philosophy of, everybody should be able to take care of themselves, that everybody should be able to be independent, and that sort of rugged, individualistic kind of philosophy. And it's just not the case when we think about our elders.
Even if people were just getting the minimum, $16 a month, it does make a difference. $16 can buy enough food for some breakfast, some lunches that people otherwise couldn't afford.
We try to make sure that everyone is up and on food stamps. There are some people that are still protesting because of their pride, but most people, we have gotten up on food stamps. And I know it's $16 a month, but you know what? It makes a difference.
Some people say that older people don't enroll in SNAP food stamps because of their pride.
Oh, I don't believe so.
Never bothered you?
No.
And why is that? Why do you think some people maybe would be a little ashamed, but...
Well, I'm 75 years old. All my life I took care of myself, and, I paid taxes and everything else. So, but the government's giving me a little bit back now. Why should I be ashamed? I gave it to them all these years.
Next time on Hungry in the West End.
It's a part of our DNA. I think it's pretty much commonly accepted that the Old Testament teaches that God identifies with the poor, that Jesus identifies with the poor.
You can learn more, read Jody McPhillips' stories, and watch extended interviews and other videos at aarp.org/RI.